Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. My name is Mpho. I am flying solo today. Tim's having some technical difficulties, but I won't be alone for long. We're going to be talking Cricket World Cup, and we've got a very special guest for you. Before we continue, remember the show is on Spotify at Full Quota Podcast. It's also on Apple Podcasts as an audio version. Please do subscribe to our One World Sports Radio channel that you're watching on right now if you're seeing my beautiful face. And yes, finally, please follow us on X. We load the podcast there. We engage with you guys all there. As you know, Cricket World Cup is happening. South Africa had an incredible win this week against New Zealand. They set themselves up for the semi-finals and then now are in, which is one tick along the way. But now we face India on Sunday, and we have a guest. And what better way for us to do a Cricket World Cup preview of the Indian South Africa match with a friend of the show, really great Indian journalist, Niharika Raina. I'm going to bring her on for us to have a chat. Hi, Niharika. How are you doing?
I'm great, Mpho. I hope you are doing well at your end. I mean, it's been a very good time for South African sports. The Rugby World Cup live, the Proteas doing well in the Cricket World Cup. What else more you can ask for?
Well, we could ask for a Cricket World Cup trophy as well and have like another trophy tour because I'm recording today. They have the trophy tour with the Rugby World Cup has started in Pretoria. Now they're coming down to Johannesburg and going to Soweto, and then tomorrow they go to Cape Town, then Durban, Cape Town, and then they finish in East London. So their rugby guys are busy, but the Proteas still have a job to do. They play India in a very interesting spot. They play India, obviously having only lost one game. They're currently top of the log, but India is playing against Sri Lanka currently when we're recording, and they should take top spot after that. However, the question then is, this is probably my first question to you: is this the biggest game at the World Cup?
Mm, Considering current form, yeah. Top of the two table clash between the two best sides of this World Cup, India and South Africa. I mean, for India, I would say that there was an expectation for them to, be in the top two right from the
Mm,
word go. But it is South Africa which has come out to be a very exciting unit as well. I mean, I know before the tournament began that
yeah.
when you were betting on England on Australia to be there in the top two, but surprisingly, and to a great joy as well, it's South Africa which is there on top two, and they are batting as if it was like England in 2019, and South Africa is doing a repeat of it in 2023. Even their bowling attack looks great. So yes,
Mm.
India and South Africa, two of the most consistent sides and the best teams in the competition, clashing on Sunday in Kolkata makes for a very tantalizing prospect.
Yes, it does, and I think South Africans are excited. It's just interesting because both teams will have qualified for the semi-finals or have already, and so it's a question of do you try and hide all your cards, or is it a question of trying to actually win this game and have the upper hand going into possibly playing in the final because these two teams will most likely finish 1 and 2. So there's a chance that they play again, but the next time would obviously be in Ahmedabad. Um, there's a similarity in Haraka with the batting of both sides because they're the two best sides. They have both teams have a very strong top six. One team has Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. The other team has guys who has Quinton de Kock, David Miller, and also up and coming guys just like yours. So you've got Shreyas Iyer, you've also got Shubman Gill. Can you give a sense to the South African viewers about that Indian top six and how well they've been batting? Because obviously, the last time we've seen an Indian team, we see them beating Australia, and it seemed like was all coming together very nicely.
Right. You're right that the Indian batting order has come together very nicely in this World Cup. Like I was there for the India-Australia game in Chennai, and there was a little bit of uncertainty going around. I shouldn't say little, but it was huge uncertainty going around when they were reduced to 2 for 3, and everybody's faces went, is it going to be a repeat of 2019 World Cup semi-final in the first game of 23 World Cup? But
Mm,
that uncertainty was vanquished by Virat Kohli and KL Rahul having that magnificent partnership. Yes, they had luck when Kohli was dropped on 12, but after that, it was all smooth sailing for them. And right from the time Rahul took 13 runs of Adam Zamba's opening over, there was literally no looking back. And thankfully, much to the delight of the Indian fans, the juggernaut has rolled down. Like against Afghanistan, Rohit Sharma got a very good 100. Against Pakistan as well, Rohit, Virat, Shreyas, all three were the great. In Bangladesh, Virat enthralled everyone. Shubman Gill got a nice 50. Then New
Mm,
Zealand, supposed to be a very tough game. Virat again stood up, and all the other batters as well stood up. I mean, this was so great to see. And then in England, where it was a tacky, two-pace challenging pitch, Rohit stood up when others were
mm,
crumbling around him. He also got some support from Surya and Rahul. So yes, India's batting order, they had people who have stepped up on multiple occasions, like Rohit himself has stood up, Virat himself has stood up. Then
mm,
sometimes Shreyas also is currently doing the same in Sri Lanka against Sri Lanka after Kohli and Gill. They couldn't get their hundreds. So you can just see that this batting order is having people who are in form, who are in good nick, and they're able to step up on any given day to contribute for the team. And I must also mention that in the first 10 overs as well, Rohit Sharma has become a very, very different beast. Like he has been attacking, his strike rate has been way above than his career strike
mm,
rate in the first 10 overs. He's taken the attack to the bowlers. Yes, there was an exception against England where he had to, go back into that mode of anchor and then, capitalize on the bowlers
mm,
after he had got up his 50. So it shows you that Rohit Sharma can play in both modes depending on what the conditions are, what the team situation is, and how the pitch behaves. So, and even in the New Zealand game as well, you had Ravindra Jadeja finishing off in style. So, yes, India's batting order, they are very much on form. Every individual has made a contribution in one game or the other. So, yes, India batters versus South African bowlers, it is going to be pretty nice matchup. And let's see what happens at Kolkata because Sunday is also Virat Kohli's birthday, and I have been
mm.
told that there is a lot of excitement around the Virat jersey sales because
Yes.
there are many people who have been asking that can we get the Virat Kohli number 18 shirt, please? It's his birthday, and they know that he missed the 49 in Mumbai, and they are expecting it to get the 49 in Kolkata on his birthday. So yes, India's batting has actually made people very, very, very excited. But Mopo, if you allow me, I can also talk about
Yeah.
India's bowling as well because that has
Just wait,
also
we'll
been
get there.
a big
We'll,
point.
we'll still get there. My only thing is, I just want to ruin Virat Kohli's birthday on Sunday, and I hope Timber
Yeah,
Bavuma does that, right? Um,
yeah.
yeah. So, from a batting perspective, that's
Hmm.
essentially it. But your strength as an Indian side has always been that you've chased over the
Yes,
ever since Virat Kohli's been in the side. It's this Indian cricket team chases the best chasers in the world, right?
right.
Is it just because of Virat Kohli, or are there other factors? And do you know why they're such a good chasing side?
Uh, Virat is a very huge factor in acing the chases, I would say. I mean, if
Mm,
you see that chase against Australia at Chennai, he made 85, and yes, he was also supported by KL Rahul as well, who also stood up and with the 97 not out.
mm,
And in Afghanistan, Rohit stepped up with 100. In Ahmedabad, everyone came collectively. Then in Bangladesh and New Zealand, Virat took the charge. So yes, there is a very huge factor of Virat being the leader in getting the chases right. Because the thing about Virat Kohli, which has always been, is that he's actually becoming a thinking calculator when it comes to chases. Like, okay, this
mm,
is the situation right now. What is the feel right now? Is there any probability of taking a single or a quick double? And then he just resolves to running between the wickets while punishing any bad or any hit me delivery in stride. So yes, I mean Virat has been there, and also I would say that his fitness has been very top notch. Like we all know in India that his fitness is the benchmark for every cricketer in the country to get those
mm.
singles running, to play those long knocks without getting that much exhausted. So yeah, Virat has been a huge factor, but also in this World Cup you have seen the other guys come up as well. Like Rohit got that 100 against Afghanistan.
Yes.
Then he unsettled the New Zealand bowlers in the first 10 overs. Yes, Trent Bolt and Matt Henry, they were a little off the mark, but Rohit is also capitalizing very well in the first 10 overs, which has also been very crucial in setting the base for getting the chases right. And even in KL
Mm.
Rahul as well, you have a person who can, hang around. He can play pacers and spinners really well. And he also has this good ability of soaking the pressure in and then playing as per the situation and leading the team to victory. Something which happened against Sri Lanka in the ODI at Kolkata in January this year when the Indian team was in dire straits. But then he stood up, he batted it in a starting in a test match like situation, and then
Yeah.
just got the team over the line in the end. So yes, the Virat factor is there, but then there are other individuals as well in the team who are capable of taking the team over the line in chases. And as we are talking right now, they are also doing the same when batting first against Sri Lanka.
That's good. That's good to see. I think India are just putting Sri Lanka to the sword
Yes.
right now. The other big thing from a batting perspective, obviously, both teams having number sevens and number eights that they not necessarily relying, but obviously South Africa struggling in that position. But Mark Jansen's coming into his own, and he's a really good all rounder, seam pacing all rounder. The other all rounder that won't be playing is Hardik Pandya. How much of a loss is that for India to not have Hardik Pandya in? And to a certain extent, who is his replacement? And will they be able to fill the gap that was left by Hardik?
Well, when Hardik rolled over his ankle in the game against Bangladesh, I could
Mm,
just imagine that how many fans were like, "Oh my God, he's gone! Oh my God, what is happening?" Yeah, because actually, it came out of huge shock. Like, my God, because I'll tell you truthfully one thing that India is always one Hardik Pandya injury away from having that imbalance in their playing 11. So it was, and when Hardik rolled his ankle over, and then when he
mm,
had to limp off the field and couldn't take participate in the game, many fans actually feared the worst, and that has actually happened. Like he hasn't played since the New Zealand game at Dharamshala. He wasn't there in Lucknow, and as reports are to be believed, he may not be even available for the South Africa clash as well. So yeah, I mean losing Hardik Pandya is a huge thing because he was the one who would be doing two roles in one. He will give you the batting option, the finishing option, and then with the ball
mm,
he would chip in either in with the new ball or either in the mid over space or in the death over space. And yes, not to forget he's a gun fielder as well. So to accommodate in Hardik's absence, what they have done is they've got Surya Kumar Yadav in, who has
mm,
not got a great ODI record, but in the recent few months, he has shown that intent and that application to be an ODI batter. I mean, that 50 he got against Australia last month before the World Cup began, that was really good to watch, and it showed that yes, he has been making that progress to fit into the ODI mold and take his time instead of going from the word go.
mm.
And in terms of bowling, well, they have got Mohammad Shami in, and Mohammad Shami has made a very big impact in the games against New Zealand and England. Like against New Zealand, he was excellent in his 5 wicket haul. He came in the back end after taking after taking the wicket of Will Young, and then he got
Yeah.
4 people out in the last 10 overs to complete with a fantastic 5 for. And against England at Lucknow, he was just breathtakingly awesome. I mean, the way he set up Ben Stokes, beating him after the nagging line and length, and then eventually clean bowling him with a nip backer. That was an absolute treat to watch live in the stadium. And then, Shami doing Shami things, Sky doing his things. So yes, they have filled up very well for Hardik's absence. But yes, when you will see a Marco Janssen in action on Sunday in Kolkata, you will do somewhere feel like that. Oh my God, it would have been a great matchup between Janssen and Pandya. But for now, India have
Mm.
done really well in closing and filling the gap left by Hardik with Sky and Shami. So yes, fingers crossed on his availability for this game
Yes, fingers crossed. As we go through.
because for the Indian perspective, of course.
Okay, thank you. Just having a little bit of the gremlins creeping in here, but that's still fine. We still have you here, Niharika. Um, let's move to the bowling, right? Um, Jasper Bumrah is back. He's bowling really well, spearheading the team. Mohammad Shami being able to nip off and getting that edge. You've also got Kuldeep Yadav, who's now coming into his own, taking wickets in clumps and being the middle overs wicket taker for India, right? And then obviously Pandya's not there, but Ravinder Jadeja as well doing his job. And obviously today they're playing Mohammad Siraj, right? Will we get the same bowling attack? And to a certain extent, where are you worried about this bowling? Because everyone's good, but is there anyone who's worrying you in this bowling attack going into this game on Sunday? Niharika, can you hear me?
Now I can able now I'm
Okay.
able to hear you. I mean,
Can you hear
I
me?
thought that your screen had frozen.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
now
So
it's
no,
loud and clear.
that's fine. We got gremlins in, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's fine. What I was just asking about, is there anyone in that Indian bowling attack that you're worried about against the South African team? Because everyone's had a really great tournament, but is there someone that you're worried about to say this is someone that the South Africans can come into and score runs against?
Mohammad Siraj. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
before the World Cup, he was really good. Like Siraj was one of the main reasons why India started to become a better bowling unit in the first 10 overs. I mean, before Siraj came into the picture, Indian team used to struggle in taking those wickets in the first 10 overs. But since then, he has been the leading wicket taker on that front. He has topped the bowling charts, with his wobble seam deliveries and made a
Mm,
great niche for himself. And that niche, it got a big upgrade when he took that 6 for against Sri Lanka in the Asia Cup finale. But this
mm,
time around in the World Cup, Siraj hasn't been really at his effective best. I mean, sometimes I feel that in search of that swing, which hasn't been largely present, he has
yeah.
been leaking runs. Even the wobble also hasn't been working much. Yes, he did get some scalps via back of the length deliveries, but yeah, Siraj is a little a little worrying factor for the Indian team because Shami is doing well, Bumrah is doing well, Jadeja is doing well, Kuldeep is doing well, and you would really like, from an Indian perspective, for Siraj to enter the enter the party of having an impactful bowling performance. Yes, he has taken wickets here and there, but he has also been on the expensive side as far as the economy rate is concerned. So yeah,
Mm,
I mean, South African bowlers can potentially look at taking those runs against Siraj. I mean,
mm,
Siraj wasn't that much effective in Lucknow also against England before Rohit made that bowling change and got Shami in, and then the script changed altogether. And there was also one thing I would say that when against New Zealand, Kuldeep was kept under pressure early on by Darren Mitchell and Rachin Ravindra when they
mm,
used their feet well. They got those big towering sixes, but Kuldeep also bounced back. Like
yeah.
if this was the Kuldeep of old, there would have been little apprehension about, hey, well, whether he'll come back or not. But there, at that point of time, he came back in the last 5 overs, took 2 for 25, and you know got into making that impact in the last 10 overs. So yeah,
Yeah.
Kuldeep is sorted in that front. But yeah, Siraj is one of about whom Indian fans will be really worrying about. But yes, South Africa will also be seeing their metrics that, hey, we can get runs against him. He
Mm.
has been leaking runs, but you never know what happens with the cricket. So yeah, Siraj is the one who's worrying a little bit from an Indian bowling perspective.
Look, I'm excited to see the whole Kuldeep versus the South African middle over,
Yes,
middle order in the middle overs of the game, because he's been
yes.
the best bowler in the middle overs in this tournament, and South Africa have been able to be the best team to navigate the middle overs. So that's going to be something. But just give us a sense of the conditions in
Mhm.
Kolkata at Eden Gardens. I don't think there's been many games being played there. But obviously, I know it'll be a packed stadium, that we know. It's a larger ground than the Wankere. Um, what else do we need to worry about from a pitch perspective that you've seen over the past couple of months, actually?
Okay, so for the Eden Gardens pitch, what there have been two games, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Bangladesh Netherlands game, and there was the Pakistan Bangladesh game as well earlier this week. So there was sufficient turn and bounce for the spinners. Like the
Mm-hmm.
pitch is such that it will bring spinners into the play. for the Pakistan Bangladesh pitch, I do know that the pitch was dry, didn't have any moisture, and the
Mm.
Bangladesh Netherlands game was also played on a different pitch where it was aiding the spinners. And yes, in
Yeah.
both games the batters were challenged. Though in the second innings, Pakistan they had their Fakhar Zaman doing good, they had Abdullah Shafiq doing good. So yes, they were able
Mm.
to negate the Bangladesh spinners. But yeah, from these two games, you do see that Eden Gardens does have some bits for the spinners, but generally it has been a good pitch for the fast bowlers as well. Like it does give something to the bowlers as well, making the batters challenge as well. But at the same time, the batters they also have to be on top of their game to negate whatever questions are being thrown into them by the bowlers, whether it be the spinners or the pacers. And I had read somewhere that the Eden Gardens curator had said about creating sporting pitches for this World Cup. And so far, we have seen that, but it has
Mm.
been a little bit in favor of the spinners. So I don't know if they're going to play on the side pitches because generally they play in their games on the center wicket, and no one knows how that center wicket will go into play and if it is picked one. So how will it behave? It's a little bit of a mystery, I would say. But yeah, like we can't just see from the first two games that okay, this favored spinners, the Netherlands spinners, they got the better of
Mm.
Bangladesh batters that day, and Pakistan batters, they got the better of Bangladesh bowlers in batting second. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mystery, but I do expect some help for the spinners as well as for
Okay.
the pacers from pitch.
So it's a bit of a mystery, but it
Yes.
most likely will be a trial by spin for the South Africans to go through. One last question here, Niharika, before we close off. Who are you worried about in the South African team coming up against this Indian side?
Uh, Maybe the performance against the spinners because we do know that South Africa has been doing really well in this World Cup. They have decimated the spin
Mm.
bowling lineups in the middle overs. I mean, against Sri Lanka at Delhi, which is my home city,
Mm.
that 400 plus innings, it was just an absolute treat to watch. And even in the game against New Zealand, Santner was economical, but they
Mm.
cashed on against the other bowlers. I mean, the big challenge which I am seeing for South Africa is from the Indian bowlers. To be
Mm.
to be very fair with you, because Indian bowlers they are really on top of their game. They have been able to defend 230 against England on a tough pitch, especially when
Yes.
there was dew around. So and thing is that you cannot just underestimate the Indian bowling lineup now. Yeah, like focus everything on the batting and then let go of the bowling. No, that's not a chance.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just really intrigued to see what happens when South African batters are facing the Indian bowlers. Will South Africa will they be able to go hammer and tongs like they have been doing in this tournament so far? And yes, what happens when they are put in the chase against the Indian bowlers? That is also a very interesting thing to see because against Netherlands, you and I know really well what it happened in Dharamshala. I don't need to
Mm.
remind of that.
Yeah,
So
no, we
yeah,
know that.
yeah, not a very good
So,
memory.
yeah, it's not.
So yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
want
I
to
mean, it
remember
should be a
that.
very interesting battle between the South African batters and the Indian bowlers. Like, I'm just worried about how they will fare against the Indian bowlers, especially when facing Kuldeep Yadav. Because you remember the India South Africa one day in Delhi, albeit dramatically different conditions. Kuldeep took a four in that game, which was also the first ODI game I covered. So yeah, like how they face up against the Chinaman bowlers because I
Mm.
do know they have Tabriz Shamsi and they must have played him really well because he's the guy who's closest to facing Kuldeep. So
We're
yes,
worried about Shamsi.
Miller,
He's the one I'm worried about.
Klassen,
Um,
Miller, Klassen, Makram versus Kuldeep. That
yeah,
I'm really worried about.
yeah, yeah. I'm worried about Shamsi a lot. I think he should play,
Yeah,
but he doesn't play well against India. But yeah,
yeah.
look, Niharika, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us. Um, the great thing about Sunday is two power pack teams coming up against each other in this World Cup, and I think it's going to be a treat. I hope it's like a 350. South Africa bats first, 350 runs, and then we let India see if they can chase it. And we test this whole theory about Virat's birthday and his ability to chase. But yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us, Niharika. And yeah, we'll be chatting soon if we make it to the final, or when we make it to the final against you. We'll call you and we'll have a much longer podcast just to go through everything. But outside of that, thank you very much for joining us and goodbye.
Thank you very much for bringing me on the show. It's been fun talking about the Indian
Mm.
perspective for your viewers and for all the viewers in South Africa. I mean, trust
Yeah.
me, India South Africa game. Not many had thought of it being a big marquee clash, but
Yes.
the form says that it's now a marquee clash. So yeah, pretty much excited for what happens on the Super Sunday.
Yes. Super
Will be a
Sunday
treat for
indeed. Thank you
everyone
very
in the
much,
country.
Niharika. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
There you have it, Niharika Raina giving you everything you need to know about the game on Sunday. And yeah, just all the best to the Proteas. You heard it all here. There's going to be lots of battles. It's going to be an incredible game. And the semifinals are secured. This is a free hit. If you can beat them and then take them on in the final again, we put yourself in great stead. Outside of that, for myself and Mpho, goodbye and lesale kakahiso.